Hey everybody, it's Robert Dunt from ArtTop10.com and we're here at Graham Crowley's summer show, Silent Disco, and I'm very happy to be chatting to one of the artists, Twinkle Troughton.
Hi Rob. Nice
Hello, lovely to meet you. So go on, tell me about this extraordinary looking house.
So this painting is from a series that I have done of German houses, and a lot of my work is kind of about invoking stories, but it's about the sort of projection of the imagination of stories on a place or a detail from a landscape. And I've got family, like my heritage is German, and I was visiting a great aunt in Germany. She lives in this tiny little place called Schneverdingen, but not far from Hamburg. And there's these kind of really incredible, almost like fairy tale houses that are all a bit they're all a bit too perfect, and so they kind of have this strange, creepy feel. And but at the time, so the stories that she's told me about her past, and that my nan used to tell me about their past, about sort of life during World War II, and sorry, this is going off on a tangent, but just to put a bit of background to why these houses intrigued me. Sort of the stories that they told me about life on refugee camps and being on the run because their father joined the resistance and they had to have taken different names, and the stories were just mind-blowing. And as I was sort of travelling around where my great aunt lives, I was just sort of looking at these houses and thinking, what secrets do they hold? What stories have happened to the people that lived in them, or what have those walls seen? Because it's, the history is so phenomenal and unbelievable. And I guess so I partly feel a bit connected to the landscapes there as well. Because
for me they already have a kind of fantasy Hansel and Gretel kind of beautiful but possibly creepy kind of feeling to them. Is that the kind of thing that you get as well?
Well, definitely. I think, because if you even look at the tradition of German folklore, and the stories are dark, they're for children, but really they're for adults as well, I think, and they're so dark and strange, and they're uncomfortable, and the strange characters and things happen in them. And so I guess it's that atmosphere being transferred into, or being sort of put into a painting, but without sort of trying to tell a particular story. It's just suggesting that there could have been something going on there, or who's in there, or it's more about the imagination, what it triggers by these sort of strange little places. And
it's quite an interesting picture because at first sight it looks like kind of a quite nice, pretty picture of a house, but then when you look at it more, there's quite a lot of dark sections to it, and there's strange curtains are sort of lurking open. Did you choose all those elements particularly?
No. The house was genuinely like that. And then afterwards, looking through the photos, I just thought, wow, those curtains just amazing. It was things like the curtains that helped me choose to paint that one, and the light. One thing I do think is so important quite often in invoking an atmosphere is quite often light, and so with that one, especially the dark shadows hovering over the windows, and just imagining someone looking out back at you and how sort of disconcerting that might feel and stuff. I don't know, it's just the light is definitely part of it, and those little details like the curtains, because
it's weird. It's almost like there's a huge claw coming up over there, I think. But when you paint it, are you... Weird question. Are you trying to make it beautiful? Or?
So I think it's already beautiful in a strange... So the photos of the houses, to me they already are beautiful, but they're just dark as well. There's a darkness there that I think is part of that German fairy tale aesthetic. So I don't think I have to try and make them beautiful, because I think that's already there. I think it's just about drawing out that atmosphere that I think is what sort of concerns me. That's sort of what I focus on in a lot of my paintings, is just that it's the atmosphere, I think, of the detail that I'm sort of focused on.
Oh, that's really cool. And what is it? Is it a watercolour? I can't quite tell. It is oil on paper. And so is it normally oil on paper, or are they bigger oil on canvas? Oh, really?
And I always paint in oils. Well, I have done for the last few years. So I quite like how you can distort the paint and do strange things with it, with the mediums, and make sort of strange sort of staining marks. So you don't have to paint a tree. You can sort of use strange marks to sort of insinuate a tree.
Oh no, you've done it really nicely. I really like these little teeny tiny dots down here that make those bushes there. It looks absolutely beautiful like that.
It's a detail I get really caught up in, actually. Like, I do. I just love having a tiny brush and making the tiny marks. I just love it. Sit there and just sort of go off on my own little world with it a bit, really.
It's cool. It's funny because Graham was saying before that you were in a riot girl punk band of doom, weren't you?
Yep, screaming profanities and wearing tiny hot pants and white stilettos. Yeah.
And then now you're making these slightly sort of gothic horror paintings. But what was the journey from there to?
So my work for a long time was really loud and making really bold political statements and very bold in colour and just really sort of impactful imagery. And I guess it's just, as I've just wanted to explore learning how to paint, it's become less about a message and more about just learning about paint intrigues me, and I guess you grow up, maybe it's growing up a bit, I don't know. I mean, not that you don't be in a screaming rock and roll band if you're grown up, but I don't know if I would like go and scream the things I used to scream necessarily. Oh, I don't know.
No. I think I'm. Oh, really?
I scream those things, so yeah. But I do think it's maybe just because you do start to get serious about something, and I think painting came it for me.
Well, I think actually what you said is really interesting, and I did a lot of these films about an artist whose name I've just totally forgotten at the moment, but a lot of that was about the paint, was the communication. So in a way, the paint itself does the communicating, which I think is what you said. You've almost, from trying to communicate something, you're almost letting the paint do the communicating. It's almost, by standing back, you're giving it more power on its own.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly it. It's I'm trying to sort of tell someone what to think through my work, and it's more about hoping that a viewer will sort of have their own story or their own interpretation of it. Whilst sort of, I think the universal thing that I would love people to get is that darkness and strangeness, but I think it's up to each viewer to make the story up of what's going on in there. Whereas my work used to be definitely more sort of trying to tell people how I felt about the world or about politics.
That's really interesting, actually. I really enjoyed talking. Thank you very much. And if you have the reunion, tell us. We all want to come.
Will do.
Bumbuckler.